Hello students, today we are going to read about the reading skills. The objective of this lesson is to know what is reading, to know what is comprehension, to know the difference between reading comprehension and reading, to know the different types of reading, to learn to choose the right type of reading, and to modify the reading speed as per the different texts. Let us just understand what is reading by going through the introduction. Language is a communication tool. To handle any tool requires a great skill. When we say that a person is a good communicator of English, we mean to say that he has good communication skills. The whole process of communication revolves around the 4 different skills, that is, listening, speaking, writing, and reading. We receive information through listening and reading, and we send information through speaking and writing. All these 4 skills, the most important skill is reading skill. Reading helps you to understand the grammar, to improve your pronunciation, to learn the sentence construction, to develop paragraphs, and to organize material. If one has good reading skill, then one will also have good writing skill, because writing depends upon reading skill. Reading can be improved by intelligent, consistent, and continuous effort. Sir Francis Bacon has rightly said that reading maketh a full man, conference, that is speaking, makes a ready man, and writing makes an exact man. So let us understand what is reading. Can anyone say what is reading? Let us understand it. Reading is the action of the person who reads. It is the oral interpretation of the written language. Reading is a means of acquiring language, of communication, of sharing ideas, and of information. Like all languages, reading is a complex interaction between the text and the reader. Reading is influenced by a writer's prior knowledge, attitude, experiences, culture and community, language and society. Reading is thus sight to sound to sense. It is a cognitive process of decoding symbols and understanding the matter. Reading can be thus represented as identifying symbols, analyzing their sounds, and attaching meaning to them. The written symbols form words, phrases, clauses, and sentences. Reading is not a simple passive process that requires reading words in a linear fashion and internalizing their meaning one at a time, but reading is a complex cognitive process that requires a reader to actively participate in the process. Now let us know who is a proficient reader. A proficient reader is one who knows the purpose of reading and reads with that purpose in mind by using strategies. He monitors his comprehension and modifies it and adjusts it if it is needed. Proficient readers know when unknown words arise and interfere into their reading. When unknown words arise and interfere into their reading, they have with them a number of word attack strategies that are available to them to tackle these kind of situations, and they are able to decipher the meaning. Proficient readers give to the text as much as they take from it. They get the meaning from the text based on their prior knowledge and experiences. Proficient readers constantly make predictions as they read. They continuously anticipate what will come next. The prior knowledge and experiences with the text as well as with the world help them to do this. This continuous interaction with the text that allows proficient readers to make sense of what they are reading. Now, we have understood what is reading, so let us now proceed to know what is comprehension. Let us understand comprehension by looking at the words monkey, apple, blue, dance, water, happy. Do these words make sense? Yes, of course. We know what they mean when we look at them independently. We know a monkey is an animal which is found on trees, and apple is a fruit that is red in color. Blue is a color which is of ocean, so on and so forth. But if we read these words as a sentence, does it make sense? Of course not. There is a difference between being able to read and being able to comprehend what we read. Comprehension is nothing but simply another word for understanding. Comprehension is the process of grasping and understanding the ideas presented to us in the written or unwritten form. It is knowing about the author's ideas and the organization in the text. It is also knowing about the writer's choice of words. For example, how does he tell us if the character in his text is evil or greedy? It is understanding that which is not said explicitly, but what you can make out or think might have happened or is going to happen. Sometimes the literal meaning of the text is easy to understand, but it may be difficult to know what the writer is trying to infer. Hence, the reader should not read the text in a mechanical manner, but he should critically analyze the text and be sensitive to the writer's choice of words and nuances of reading. A person with a good knowledge of English can easily read and comprehend what he is reading, because for him the act of reading and comprehension begin at the same time. They occur almost simultaneously to him. But for a reader who is still developing his language, it may not be easy to comprehend the text as he is reading, because comprehension is difficult for him than reading. He has to establish a relationship between reading and comprehension, and only then he will become a strong and capable reader. Now we know what is comprehension. Let us proceed further to know what are the levels of comprehension. For us, the levels of comprehension will be the literal level of comprehension, the evaluative comprehension, and the inferential comprehension. Let us understand what each one of them means. Literal comprehension indicates that the person is able to extract the literal meaning from the text. Evaluative comprehension means that the person or the reader is able to make judgments on the text. Inferential comprehension shows that the student understands how the content of this passage relates to the context of other passages and other situations. Let us understand the levels of comprehension by going through a short passage which is below. Is whale a fish? A whale spends all the time in the water. This means whales are fish, right? Wrong. A whale is a mammal, an air-breathing creature just like you. A whale is a marine animal, a sea mammal. Other marine mammals include seals, sea lions, sea otters, walrus, and manatees. Mammals are warm-blooded animals like dogs, cats, horses, and other animals. Whales and other mammals have a body temperature that stays the same irrespective of the water or the air around them. A fish is cold-blooded. Its body temperatures changes so that it is always the same as the water it swims in. Now let us understand how a student comprehends literally, evaluatively, and inferentially. The literal questions that he may phrase and the potential responses are: is whale a fish? No. What are the mammals? Name the different types of mammals. Mammals are sea lion, walrus and manatees. What are warm-blooded animals? Warm-blooded animals are those animals that body temperature remains the same irrespective of the surrounding. Now let us understand what is evaluative comprehension by knowing the questions and the potential answers to them. Can a fish's body temperature be warm? Why or why not? Yes, a fish's body temperature can be warm if it is swimming in warm water. Now let us proceed a little ahead to understand what is inferential question and the potential response. For example, a student, when he is making an inferential evaluation, he may draw the analogy between what he has read in the text. For example, complete the analogy. Whale is to fish, is to, bird is to what? For example, butterfly. So we may present the potential answer by saying, if whale is not a fish but it is butterfly, then what is it that flies and not a bird? Now we know what is comprehension. We have seen the levels of comprehension, but why should we know comprehension? Why is comprehension so important? Reading comprehension is important for three main reasons. First, because the more the reader tries to understand the text that he is reading, the more he understands it, the more he enjoys it. Secondly, most of the curriculum is taught to the students in the school by way of reading. If a student does not understand what he is reading, then he will not access the rest of the curriculum and then he may lose his grade. Thirdly, the more the students understand the craft of the writer, the more he learns to improve his own writing. Now we have seen why comprehension is so important and why should we read. The question, why should we read, makes us come to the point, the purpose of reading. Once we know the purpose of reading, it greatly enhances the effectiveness of reading, and it also helps us to adopt a style that is suitable to the text that we are reading. One of the basic purpose of reading is to provide a missing link to the reader between what he knows and between what he needs to know. Another purpose of reading is simply for pleasure and enjoyment. We also read to get an overview of the text. We read to locate specific information, to identify the central theme of the text, and to develop a detailed and critical understanding of the text that is before us. Once we know the purpose of reading, let us know how many types of reading are there. There are two types of reading, fast reading and slow reading. To be an effective reader, a reader should combine both the kinds of reading and read the text. Let us understand what is fast reading. This method is best suited to us when we have a large amount of text before us and we have to extract only relevant information from it or the necessary information from it. Fast reading is also done to get an overview of the whole text that is present before us. Fast reading is used to look for only specific words in the text or to identify the core theme or message that is being conveyed. Fast reading is again of two types, skimming and scanning. Skimming is done by running your eyes through the text and extracting the important information. It is not necessary that you understand the meaning of all the words in skimming. Examples of skimming are reading the newspaper to just get the headlines out of it, reading the magazines to decide which article you're going to read later, and reading a travel brochure or a magazine to understand the holiday plans or something else. Now let us understand scanning. Scanning is used to find a particular piece of information. We run our eyes through the text trying to locate the specific information that we need to know from the text. For example, the schedules of the flight, the train schedules, the minutes of the meeting, so on. It is not important for you to know the exact meaning of the words when you are scanning. It is required for you to know the context or to locate the specific information. Examples of scanning are looking at the flight schedule or looking at the section which gives you what's on TV, or also a conference guide. Now, let us understand what is slow reading. We know that fast reading is skimming and scanning, and now slow reading is extensive reading or analytical reading and intensive reading or critical reading. What is extensive reading? Extensive reading is generally done on the texts which are long. It is done with an intention to understand the context rather than understanding each word. It is also done to get some knowledge out of it or for specific or general information. It is not important for you to understand each word while you are reading extensively. Examples of extensive reading are when you read a novel before you go to bed, when you read the text which is prescribed for your examination, a marketing book, so on and so forth. Now let us understand what we mean by intensive reading. As the word intensive suggests, we know that intensive reading requires a reader to pay attention to every detail when he is reading the text. It is a close and accurate reading of the text. A reader should be very careful to read each word and understand the meaning behind the text. Examples of intensive reading are a bookkeeping report, an insurance claim, a court case, or a contract. Now we have known the types of reading, which are the fast reading, slow reading, extensive reading and intensive reading. The speed of reading depends upon the types of reading, the purpose of reading, and also depends upon the nature of the reading material. According to Edward Fly, there are three types of reading skills. They are the study reading speed, the average reading speed, and the skimming speed. Let us understand the different reading speeds by putting before us the reading of a poor reader as well as a good reader. Now, for the study reading speed, a poor reader reads 90 to 120 words per minute and comprehends about 90% of the text, whereas a good reader in a study reading speed reads about 200 to 300 words per minute and comprehends 90% of the text. % of the text. When we know about the reading speed, can we also know about the adjustment of reading speed? Can we adjust the reading speed as we are reading further? Yes, of course, we can. It is important for a reader to adjust his reading speed whenever he finds difficulty. The reading speed can be adjusted depending upon the purpose of the reading and the type of material that he is reading. There are two kinds of reading adjustment which can be done by the reader. The rate ranges from the maximum to the minimum. The reader should be able to vary the rate both from one article to the other and also within the same article from one section to the other section. What is maximum speed and minimum speed? A maximum speed should be adjusted for easy, familiar and interesting material when a reader is skimming or scanning the material. What is minimum speed? A minimum speed should be adapted by the reader when he is reading a difficult text, a technical text or an unfamiliar text, or when he is doing intensive reading. We have now come to the end of the first part of reading comprehension. We shall be reading in detail about reading comprehension in our next program. Thank you.